And Myriam Francois joins us now live from Paris with more. Myriam.
Yes, well, it's 2 weeks now for those two candidates to convince the undecided electors, or those 50% who didn't vote for their programs, to come on board. And I'm joined now by a man who can give us a little bit more information on that. That's Jacques Reland. He is the Senior Research Fellow at the Global Policy Institute. Jacques, can you first off tell us, is Macron likely to win this election? And if he does, how easy will it be for him to govern?
There's a very strong chance that he will win the election. Even though this campaign between the two rounds would be a campaign between two visions, completely diametrically opposed views of the world. One, and of France's role in the world. One, the vision of Le Pen is a France closing its borders, afraid of and anti-Europe and reforming Europe, or maybe getting out of Europe. The one with Macron will be a France which is very open to the world, very pro-European. You could see that in the election campaign, in the results, we showed that the people who are anti-European represent 40 to 45% of people. But at the same time, many are on the left. I would prefer Macron. So therefore, I think that Macron will win handsomely. The problem will come after him, about forming a government, getting a majority in the parliamentary elections which are going to take place in June, and being able to form a government which is going to be able to act the reforms that they want to propose to France.
And I mean, the National Front has achieved a score of the second party in France. What does that tell us about politics in France today, that the National Front is today the second party of France?
Yeah, we realize this phenomenon is quite Europe-wide. You find that in many countries where you have populist, anti-Europe and fairly xenophobic parties come to power. It's a result of the crisis we've had in Europe for the last 10 years in many ways. And actually, the National Front represents people who feel left out by this new world, the losers of globalization, the losers of European instruction. And you can see the vote. If you look at the map of the vote in France, the poorer areas and areas which feel left out tend to vote for Le Pen, while the areas who are doing quite well, the urban areas, the western areas, are massively voting for for Macron. Yeah.
Now, we also saw the near annihilation of some of the traditional parties, the socialists with just only 6% and the right at 19%. That's just under 25% for both of the traditional parties. Why have we seen this emerge?
That's because this system is running out of steam. Many people were saying people have been fed up with the traditional parties in power. One of the biggest elements of this campaign is how people were displeased with governments and politicians. The affairs surrounding Fillon and other politicians have all led to sometimes even a feeling of disgust, as there was a strong desire to push people out. And we've seen over the last 2 years, all the earlier favorites have been thrown out of the race, starting with Sarkozy, Juppé. People wanted a new boom. They wanted to change. There are two possibilities of two change. One, very radical, get out of Europe, and very dangerous with the racist dimension. And a change with Macron, which is light change, but which changes the system completely, because it means that he will have maybe we'll have in France for the first time a coalition government, while with the Fifth Republic we've always had alternates between a right-wing and a left-wing government. Now the new political setup, which lead to France being governed by people from the center-left and center-right. It might be a good thing for France. It might allow France to reform itself, because before the opposite camp was always opposed to reform. It's very difficult for France to reform. Maybe with a coalition government under a president like Macron, then France will be able to enact good reforms, which will allow it to play a bigger role, to improve its economy and play a bigger role in Europe, and gain, especially very important, France will gain the confidence of the Germans and the markets.
Thank you very much. So back to you from a France which has a choice between two very polarized visions of the future.
Well said. Okay, Myriam Francois, thanks so much for that, live from Paris.